Well, for more on Turkey's perspective, let's speak to TRT World's managing editor, Serdar Atash. He joins me in the studio. Welcome to the studio. Putin has used very strong language here. He said a stab in the back. How do you think President Erdogan will react to that comment?
Well, as far as I know, the President Erdogan and President Putin, they both are hard guys, to be honest. And Erdogan is not going to tone down. This is my expectation. I think he's going to tone up because, yes, there is a stab in the back, but if you look at the reality, you will see that Russia, just in front of the door of Turkey, is stabbing in back Turkey. So in this case, just let's see that Russia is violating Turkish airspace, not Turkey violating Russian airspace. So the one is stabbing in the back, so it's Russia in this case, to look at the reality. But on the other hand, so Russia is insisting and denying that any of Russian aircraft did not violate the Turkish airspace. So I will say this is where the rhetoric ends. It's easy, it's not so complicated or difficult to prove that. Turkish military has just released the flight path of that aircraft that has been shot down. So Russia has that technology, they easily can release that and we can see whether it violated the Turkish airspace or not. But on the other hand, I would say that for the recent 7 or 8 years that Russia has been very aggressive, irrespectful and irresponsible against the sovereign countries, sovereign states' rights. In 2008, Russia invaded South Ossetia annexed South Ossetia from Georgia and Abkhazia, and then annexed Crimea, and then East Ukraine, and now in front of door of Turkey, which is the second largest army of the NATO. So I think Russia has to review its policies and should come to understand that military power does not give you legitimacy to spread your power over the other state, over other sovereign countries. And Russia should see that this way goes nowhere but conflict.
Now, Turkey did say that they'd already warned those fighter jets to get out of airspace. There is an emergency meeting with NATO. How do you think NATO is going to react to today's incident?
The expectation is, of course, like that the NATO, as it did before, when the first time the Russian aircraft violated Turkish airspace, you remember, in October. So I expect that NATO is going to come out and say that we are in a rock-solid solidarity with Turkey because NATO has the obligation against any NATO member. So since Turkey, at very critical periods and at very critical places, has been one of the biggest stakeholders of the NATO, and in terms of security, NATO also is going to fulfill its duties against Turkey.
Very, very briefly, do you think the ambassador will come to Turkey as was summoned by Ankara?
The ambassador of
Russia.
Russia. You mean like the foreign minister of Russia, Lavrov? Yeah, that for now is not for sure, of course. There hasn't been any announcement that the visit is cancelled or not. But it's highly to be cancelled. If it cancelled, what does it mean? It means that Russia is going to focus on these policies and come up with a new agenda and with a new rhetoric and a new policy.
Okay, Rasul, thanks for your time.
Thank you.